Okay, so tonight the goal is to finish off Study 5, which deals with the church at Philadelphia, which is chapter 3, 7 to 13, and then, Lord willing, to be able to move straight on to the church at Laodicea, which I think probably should be a little bit more familiar to us. You've probably heard some sermons on that letter to the church in Laodicea and the problem of their lukewarm nature, so that's probably a little bit more familiar, and I hope to go through that fairly quickly. So Philadelphia is an interesting letter and raises some interesting points of interpretation. Now Craig's got a good loud voice, so I'm wondering, Craig, if you'd be able to read from verse 7 through to verse 13.
Okay, chapter 3.
Yep.
Right. Revised Standard Version.
That's right.
And to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, the words of the Holy One, the true One, who has the key of David, who opens and no one shall shut, who shuts and no one opens. I know your works. Behold, I have set before you an open door which no one is able to shut. I know that you have but little power, and yet you have kept my word and have not denied my name. Behold, I will make those of the synagogue of Satan who say they are Jews and are not, but lie. Behold, I will make them come and bow down before your feet, and learn that I have loved you. Because you have kept my word of patient endurance, I will keep you from the hour of trial which is coming on the whole world, to try those who dwell upon the earth. I am coming soon. Hold fast what you have, so that no one may seize your crown. He who conquers, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God. Never shall he go out of it, and I will write on him the name of my God, and the name of the city of my God, the new Jerusalem, which comes down from my God out of heaven, and my own new name. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches.
Okay, thanks for that. That's the letter to the church at Philadelphia. All right, a little bit of background information about this city. It was 30 miles southeast of Sardis on the main trade route from Smyrna on the coast to the east, and it was also on a major Roman postal road from Troas through Pergamum, Sardis, and then Philadelphia to the east. So it was ideal for commerce, and it was called the gateway to the east, quote unquote. So a number of these congregations have been established on quite strategic areas geographically in terms of commerce and trade, and this was certainly a case in point. Philadelphia was important for this reason. It was founded sometime after 189 BC by either Eumenes II, king of Pergamum, or his younger brother Attalus Philadelphus, so called because of his love and loyalty to his older sibling, and he lent his name to the city, and it became known as the city of brotherly love. That's what Philadelphia actually means. It means brotherly love, a composition of two Greek words coming together. So it's likely that one of these rulers lent his name to the city at that time. The main problem was its proclivity to earthquakes. There were active volcanoes in the region which made the soil fertile, but earthquakes made it difficult to live there. So this was a problem. People living there had to face that, reckon with that, but that's not an unusual thing around the world if you're living in an earthquake-prone region. It was also a grape-growing area, and the patron god was Dionysus, the Greek god, who was the god associated with wine and wine festivals. So that was the background information that I could discover on Philadelphia. Now, does anybody have anything to add on that from your own research about this city? Yes. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Case. Ali first.
I read there was quite a devastating earthquake, I think in AD 17.
Okay.
and quite a lot of earthquakes in the next 20 years after that.
All right.
And the Emperor Tiberius supplied them with quite a lot of earthquake relief, and there was serious talk of changing the name of the city to Neo Caesarea, I think,
Okay.
in honour of the emperor.
Okay.
And it suggested that the allusions to new names in this passage had something to do with that.
Right, now that's very interesting. I'll just repeat that for the sake of the recording here. Numerous earthquakes starting in AD 17 that we know of and going beyond that. And so that was a major thing. And then the Emperor Tiberius helped out the city. And there was talk of changing the name of the city as well, which may have bearing upon the name that comes up here in the letter. That's interesting background information. Sort of thing you'll find in a Bible commentary or a Bible encyclopedia on the city. Case, you had something too.
Yeah, on top of that,
Yep.
there's another, later on, another name, Flavius.
The city was called by the name Flavius. Okay, I didn't come across that. All right.
Flavia, sorry, Flavia.
Flavia. Do you know when that was, Case?
No, but it was under Vespasian.
Under the Emperor Vespasian.
Yeah.
Okay, under the Roman Emperor Vespasian, I'm not quite sure when he was, but the city became known as Flavia. So you put all these details together, you get an idea of a little bit of the background of the city, and of course this has bearing upon the content of the letter and the sorts of things that Jesus is speaking to the people, because it strikes chords with them in terms of their life. Okay. Notice that Philadelphia is one of only 2 churches in this section of the book that don't receive any rebuke. When it comes to all of the others, we're going to come to one soon that's only rebuke, but when it comes to most of the others, the Lord will commend certain things about the congregation, and He'll say, I know this about you, this is good, but this I have is a problem with you. So the commendation comes first, then comes the problem issues. This is one congregation, one of 2, that doesn't receive any rebuke at all, which is a pretty amazing thing. And something to strive for, I guess, in our congregational life, that if the Lord were writing to us a letter like this, that He would only have commendation. Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing? So we can certainly learn from the example of these Philadelphian Christians and strive to apply that to our lives. Okay. Verses 7 to 9, in verse 7 Jesus introduces Himself as the one who holds the key of David. Now I've said here in the notes that this is an allusion to an important biblical passage. It's Isaiah 22, verses 15 to 22. Now did anybody look that up and find out what that passage was all about and why this passage in Revelation is reaching back to that passage in Isaiah 22. Does anybody know about that?
Talking about for us, unto us a child is born.
No, I think that's a different chapter. I think that's we're in Isaiah 22.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It says it. For unto us a child is born. 22.
22, verse 22. No, I'll place on the shoulder the key to the house of David. What He opens, no one can shut, and what He shuts, no one can open. That's the particular passage that's being referred to in Revelation, in this letter. Okay, what's the background to this passage in Isaiah 22? Does anyone know? All right.
It's also a key to the judgment?
No, not quite. Look, I'll have to give it to you then. If you look up at verse 15, if you can turn up Isaiah 22 and look up to verse 15, we read there, this is what the Lord Almighty says, go say to this steward, there is a steward, we'll talk about that in a moment, whose name is Shebna.